MLB opening day be damned, even though I just talked about it. I forgot to switch the thumbnail, though. We got to do what we always do here on the Splash Play channel. We're going to dig in and compare my NBA projections, some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic, who I was just on a stream, and, of course, like our friends at Unabated. We're also going to see what the best bets are on Unabated, see what your little DFS is today, along with your prop betting edge on the various pick'em sites, along with DraftKings and FanDuel Sportsbook. Of course, we'll hop over to Stokastic, run some DFS sims, and by in this video, you know, the must-plays, including my splash plays for today's NBA slate. Let's get into it. Q tag tweet for the day. We got Jalen Williams questionable, Amin Thompson questionable, Josh Giddey, Nikola Vucevic. Vucevic was at shoot around. I think Giddey was too, but definitely two guys to watch out for today, given the Bulls are seemingly not trying to make the play-in, even though they should be able to make it pretty easily if they want. Malik Monk, Lonzo Ball, also a Q tag after missing for a while here, even though it doesn't matter a lot. You're probably not going to want to play him. Could matter on the slate in terms of how he affects the other guys. Tamani Kamara, Casey Wallace, and we got Duncan Robinson around at the Q tags. Doubtful tags on guys we haven't seen play in a while. Jeremy Grant, Cole Anthony, Anthony Davis expected to play. That's what it's looking like right now from our friends at Underdog. And I appreciate CJ here. Aloha, putting in the work today. Yes, indeed. Getting ready for MLB alone is enough, but a gigantic MLB slate preparing NBA. Thankfully, nothing changed in NBA over the last hour. So I ran my sims. We're good to go. But yes, also Quentin Grimes yesterday. I feel like if I make a big stand here, I have to take the lumps as always. Not my favorite Quentin Grimes game yesterday, obviously, with him just putting up about 30 fantasy points in that spot. I guess a little bit higher than that to give him some credit. Nowhere near where he needed to be. He wasn't the top scoring shooting guard on the slate, so I don't even have anything to cling to here. Sometimes it's just going to happen when you have Yabusele putting up a ton of points in the first quarter. You also have Ricky Council gunning more, Justin Edwards taking some different shots as opposed to just jacking up threes. It gets different sometimes. That's the way it goes. The good news, though, is that it's always a new NBA slate to play here, and with NBA and MLB, boy, oh boy, do I get to do a lot of gambling today. So that's the goal. I don't know that's a goal, but that's what we're doing for sure. Josh Giddey, tasting women questionable. Oh, it's weird. Tasting girls. Busiest fan of the game. For today, I am, though no NBA deeper dive anymore. So if you want my NBA takes, they're going to be in this channel here at Splash Play Bets. So keep that in mind as we move forward here with the new schedule, and it's going to keep pivoting for the next few weeks. Luka Doncic, though, my top projected player on the slate. So not really a big stand here for Luka. Barely getting him in lineups. In fact, got him in 0% of my top 150 in the sim I ran before the show. The big thing for Luka Doncic overall is that we have Luka Doncic as a play where if LeBron is in, Luka is in. I mentioned it yesterday. These two guys, to me, function the same plays. Luka had the better day yesterday. Austin Reeves was looking good before he got banged up. LeBron had the game-winning tip. Overall, not the best day for him. Same thing again today here. The Lakers total. I'm going to have to move, but boy, I got fucking MLB opened up here. I also really need to change the thumbnail. It's going to bother me until I don't. So all right, let's do that. Where's my stupid fucking face? Come on, Spags face. Here we go. Me and DeAndre Hunter. Me questioning DeAndre Hunter, now safely behind my head. Lakers total, though, today. They are at 120 implied points going against Chicago, 237 overall in the game. So very healthy total for the Lakers is the reason why I think you would want to get more Luka than I'm getting right now. You want to get LeBron some amount. People were playing these guys yesterday, 25%, 33% were the ownership projections. Today for Luka, so 13%, LeBron 17. It is a back-to-back. I assume these guys are going to play, though. And LeBron really worked up over Stephen A. Smith. So if you want to give him a boost, too, for that, you can. SGA at number 2. So Jalen Williams was at shoot-around today. Certainly a spot for Jalen Williams coming back in. It's going to affect things for SGA. Knocks his usage down a little bit. Nothing that crazy, though. For SGA, 11K salary is the main thing here, just under that on DraftKings. Looks like a strong play for me today, even though not getting to him either. You'll see why in a moment where I am spending money on. But SGA, 14% for the field, 3% for me. Not having Luka, not having SGA on a slate, two things that happen enough for me that I'm comfortable making that play. But I think if you want to be with the field on these guys, make sure you're not getting burned by them. Looks pretty good for Luka and SGA in terms of that ownership and just matching that. LeBron at 17%. I got 20. He's your cheapest option out of the three. As you can see here, I have LeBron for 49.7, SGA for 50.3, Luka for 52.3, which is a big discrepancy between me and Stokastic. Frankly, I'm not even sure where Luka Doncic is, where they're getting that projection from. The rates that I have, court time without Anthony Davis, without Max Christie, without D'Angelo Russell. So basically Luka's entire stint so far as a Laker. He's only averaged 1.44 fantasy points a minute, similar span of time period. Obviously more possessions for LeBron without AD, without Russell, without Christie. LeBron's put up 1.4 fantasy points a minute as well. So in this split grouping here of time without some of the Lakers that used to actually get up shots, Luka Doncic has been fine, but he's been basically the same as LeBron. So I think that's how to play it. It didn't work out yesterday. I'll do it the same way again today. But getting LeBron at 20%, Fields at 17. Jet Extra QT, good luck with MLB Spags. I hope it goes well, man. I did play a lot of Texas today. I would say a vibes-focused approach, but I went heavy on leveraging here, which, as you guys know, if you watch the NBA streams, I try to do that in everything anyway, where for me yesterday, I was getting a ton of Grimes, obviously a ton of Jeff Doughton. So then when I didn't get those guys in lineups, or if I, even if I did, try to give a boost to some of the other Sixers guys like Justin Edwards, who helped out a lot, Counsell, who helped out a little bit, but that's the way I try to play every DFS sport. In baseball, it's the most direct one-to-one thing, and we'll talk more about baseball on the channel in the future, but for today, who fucking knows? We'll see. I just don't want to lose everything is really the goal in baseball today. And yesterday, Cat crushed for me. So even if you want to make fun of Grimes like Josh here, I was touting Cat for the second straight day, and that boy carried me to get at least half my money back. So shouts to Cat, who's been crushing. Yeah, Miles McBride just kills Cat. Who knew? That was the thing that was holding him back. Paolo Banchero, 31% for the field, 18% for me. As we talked about with LeBron and Luka, these guys, now they're on the same slate. Sometimes you have projection players that, to me, per minute numbers look the same. For whatever reason, guys have some outlier days, like Paolo Banchero has certainly shown a higher ceiling than Franz Wagner in general this year. As a result, now you have Paolo Banchero, 1K higher. You have Luka, $1,700 higher than LeBron. I like flattening players like that out, where you have two high usage players. If one succeeds, the other has that push-pull dynamic going against them. And certainly both can get there, but you're going to have a good amount of Banchero and Wagner played. So right now, getting 18% Paolo compared to the field's 31, getting 56% Franz compared to the field's 20, with Franz gaining more rate-wise from not having Cole Anthony out there, not having Suggs anymore, not having Mo Wagner anymore. Franz Wagner looks better to me at his price tag. I have them projected within 0.4 fantasy points, but I think trying to, again, flatten these guys out would be the logical move. Franz, I think, just makes lineups work really well in an $8,900 salary today. Alperen Şengün and Sabonis on the late slate. At this point, I think that two players that look fine and they don't matter to me. And frankly, with MLB today, I have enough in my brain. So I don't have huge leans on Houston Sacramento today, but these guys project well enough if you are playing a FanDuel slate or a DK late slate. Anthony Davis, not going to play enough minutes, most likely for Dallas, but is going to be back in there. Did not give him a rate boost, kept his averages flat because he has been putting up a lot more for Dallas, but I don't want to be overexposed to Anthony Davis with the minutes likely not getting over 30. The spot for Dallas today, their team total is at, let's see, not the highest, which is what I thought. 105.8 implied points. So you're talking about going against Orlando, where you do sometimes see success for a big man. And normally, if he were full health, you would expect Anthony Davis to maybe get a few more minutes because you're going to be going against two prominent bigs the entire time with Carter and also with Goga Bitadze behind him. So Davis, I think maybe you could talk me into if you're playing 150. 20 max, I wouldn't play him. I personally won't get him very much. I got him in 2% of my top 150 lineups, and that feels about right. Josh Giddey, 5.5% field ownership. I got 3% here. I have Giddey projected higher than Stokastic. Price tag, not great. Matchup with the Lakers, also not one that's great on that side, even though Chicago's team total, as we just mentioned, is not the worst. Giddey has been great, though, in a lot of spots lately, but you put Lonzo Ball in, and I think that's something that hurts him a little bit because you're talking about some of the assist stats, some of the rebound stats, a little bit of usage going to another guy that hasn't been in the rotation. I think it's a great thing for Giddey at his price tag, which is basically at a ceiling level. Giddey's crushed enough times. I just personally wouldn't be there. And if you guys know and you watch the stream over the last month, I've played a lot of Giddey. I get Giddey more often than people do, but because Lonzo is in, it just kind of ruins his output a little bit. If Lonzo is in, he's a Q tag right now. If Lonzo is out, I would get more Giddey, I think, and he would get that boost in projection to get into a playable range. We got... Thank you for Robert Griffin III. What, are we feuding here? 4 down. You got to respect Robert Griffin III. If there's one rule on the channel, it's number one, be nice to me. Number two is be nice to Robert Griffin III. He's been the OG of OGs. So please be nice to each other. Love each other here. We got multiple sports going to lose money on today. How can you be mad? Brain is so confused watching baseball and listening to this. Yeah, the NBA slate is going to suffer today for sure. I could see it with the views I'm getting right now, but also too lower prize pools, unfortunately. I'm hoping that NBA doesn't fully drop off, but DraftKings this entire week has been putting like fucking 50K tournaments, which doesn't fill me with hope for the rest of the year, but we'll see. Anthony Davis talked about Giddey. We talked about Garland looking better today. No Evan Mobley. Darius Garland overall is your big rate winner for Cleveland. So for Mobley being off the court, Cleveland in court time without him, Darius Garland averages 1.26 fantasy points per minute. Jared Allen also averages 1.26 fantasy points per minute. Ty Jerome averages 1.28. He has a Q tag on him. And Donovan Mitchell averages 1.22. So that's something where you could certainly go against what my projections do, which are trying to isolate what happens when this player's off the court, this player's not available. What do these guys do then? And then just overlaying that rate data on top of what they're normally producing. That's what allows me to get unique on slates. I like that for myself. For you guys out there, like looking at the projections, you could certainly say that Donovan Mitchell is due to have some bigger days if he's behind both Jared Allen and Darius Garland and Ty Jerome with Mobley off. It doesn't really make sense practically. But I would say at this point for Darius Garland, he projects well. He's 8,400. Feels like the price tag is a little bit soft for a game without Mobley. But really all of Cleveland just gets a bigger opportunity because of the fact you're replacing Mobley's, relatively high usage with, DeAndre Hunter is going to put up about a 20% usage rate. Okoro, Strus are going to put up like a 15% usage rate. Guys who basically don't shoot are going to be playing minutes today for Mobley, who normally does shoot and does do a good amount on the court. Last but not least, amidst the top projected guys, we got Tyler Hero, 40% for me, 30% for the field. So pretty big stands here on Franz Wagner, Garland, and Hero. If you want to tease out the splash plays now, I think those guys would be it. Miami looks pretty good overall with the total they have. Really, everybody was popping for me with Miami this morning. Bam Adebayo looking okay. Hero looking 40% for me. Wiggins, we'll see in a moment, getting 33%. Where I'm getting 37%. Miami's total at 115 is not the highest versus Atlanta, but it is higher than the usual 109 points that Miami is scoring. So getting more Miami today for the match versus Atlanta, but that's it. All right. Weird to see. Why is this guy so mad in chat? What did Robert Griffin III do to the 4 down guy? I don't know what we're so mad about today. But if you want to be treated and valued equally by me, as much as Robert Griffin III is, please make sure to subscribe down below, hit the like button, and of course, join the Discord. Squirt Squad channels on there, or it's really just Splash Play Discord is what it's called. $5 if you want to get on there. If you want to get my projections as well, you can do that for NBA. Can have an MLB data sheet as well that's on that second Squirt Squad tier. You can also get my NFL rankings if you're playing best ball and Underdog. I will have some stuff for DraftKings and Drafters at some point this year. For right now, though, if you want my Underdog rankings, I updated those this morning too. I've done every sport today, and that is my commitment to gambling, hopefully intelligently. So please do check it out here. Join the Discord down below by just joining the YouTube channel and syncing your YouTube to your Discord. All right, top value plays. Anthony Black, I almost put him on the thumbnail today because of how well he projected for me as a value. Been a player who I touted the other day, put up, I think, 33 fantasy points. One of the better value plays in the slate last time that he played. Unfortunately, the thumbnails for him are all when he had big froey hair as opposed to what he's got now, which are tight dreads or tight braids, rather. So for Anthony Black, that's why he's not on the thumbnail today as opposed to DeAndre Hunter. Anthony Black, though, great value here. No Cole Anthony or a doubtful tag on him. Always means that Anthony Black's minutes are better. With the same thing we talked about last time with Anthony Black, if he somehow plays less minutes, probably means that Corey Joseph played fairly well and got a few more. But Anthony Black likely to play high 20s minutes, and the 25.9 minute projection for him could be a little bit low. There we go. Okay, that explains it. That explains it. Just odd to see. Hey, like I get people hating me because I put my video on my face on video every day. Hating somebody in chat feels very specific, but I don't. What do I know? Colby Jones. The Wizards are mostly full health today. I don't know why. They're playing everybody. It looks like Brogdon not playing, Bay not playing. The usual guys who are not playing. You're also gonna have Marcus Smart out for an illness, but for the most part, Keyshawn George also out. He was a fake active yesterday, but didn't play. So Washington, like they're full go. I didn't like Colby Jones yesterday. Thought he looked okay visually. I watched that entire Sixers Wizards game because that's A, the kind of person I am, and B, Grimes. So watch Colby Jones. Did think he looked a little better eye test wise, but he's not a high usage guy. And sometimes for me, like I could identify those guys pretty easily where it's like, this guy's going to get shots up. Colby Jones will knock down some threes. He'll get a rebound here and there, but he's not really contributing in every category. So I don't want to be there on a day where Washington's got enough dudes, but there's a chance he could play more minutes because they're on that back-to-back for Washington. So Colby Jones at 3,200. I'm not going to run away from it, getting in 29% of my top 150. Fields at 19, but I just don't think he's like a great play if every Wizards player is going to be available. Ty Jerome, Q-tag for him, of course, did well for us the other day. Now he's back in the slate again, getting another boost because not having Evan Mobley in. Big difference for Ty Jerome in a spot where Mobley is out as opposed to having one of Garland or Mitchell out is that the guard minutes don't consolidate for him more. Like basically what we saw last game, he has a shot to earn himself into mid-20s minutes when you have one of Garland or Mitchell out. When you have a big out, it's going to go a different way. You have a better shot of Hunter getting more minutes, of, formerly Niang, Levert getting more minutes. Now it'd be more of Shrew Socorro, like we talked about as well. Dean Wade can get minutes. It's just not going to go Ty Jerome's way unless they go deliberately very small, which is unlikely. They don't do that very often. Versus San Antonio as well, with the amount of kind of bigger guards they could put out there / wings. I don't think it's a Ty Jerome matchup. Projection-wise, I get why I'm getting him. 31% of my lineups have him right now with a 27.4 projection. He also does get a rate boost, as we talked about with Mobley being off. I just don't think he'll be a must-have play where I said basically the other day, I'd play him in almost every lineup, ended up playing him in every lineup. I wouldn't do that today. I don't think it's quite as good of a spot for him or a situation. Davion Mitchell, really surprised to see him here at this point. Davion Mitchell playing in a game here, though we talked about that Heat total and every Heat player looked a little bit better for me. I'm getting Davion Mitchell in 25% of my lineups, which doesn't feel great. Feels at 26 though, so I could live with it. Davion Mitchell, as we talked about earlier in the year, I will play him when every other high usage player is off the court. It's not the case today, but he's 4K and we don't have great value right now. So Davion Mitchell coming in for a good amount. Jared Allen, big rate boost to Evan Mobley, as we talked about. I get him whenever Mobley is out. Today, I have him 4 fantasy points higher than Stokastic does. So, team Jared Allen here today, even though Evan Mobley, obviously a different player. You're not expecting him to be one-to-one with what Mobley does, but he will rebound more. He will get more attempts at blocks. Basically, the way projections work, the stats that Mobley leaves behind have to flow somewhere. They're not likely to flow as much to an Okoro, to a Dean Wade. So for Jared Allen, he projects well, getting him 2x the field with 41% of my top 150 having him compared to 21% for the field. But I think he's a strong play today, and he's, I would say, a core play for me. Khalil Ware, I've played him lately. The price tag's too low, but Bam Adebayo being in, you're just never going to really hit that true ceiling for Ware. On a slate without great values, he's a mid-tier option that can get you to high 30s, so I could live with it. Probably wouldn't want to play him with Bam because if he hits an outcome that's 6x or more, ideally what you're trying to get, Bam's going to lose a few rebounds in that. Bam might lose a few shots at the rim in that. So Khalil Ware, okay play. I just would not play him with Bam. Walker Kessler gets a boost for no marketing, no John Collins. He's only on the DraftKings late slate / FanDuel, so I'm not playing him anywhere today, but he does look like a strong play, and I usually do get Walker Kessler because basically the rebound rates go up and his usage rate and assist rate go up, but usage rate gets close to 20%. He's normally around 15, so we'll have Kessler looking good. Oh, really? Trout hitting his hand for it's not great. I got way too many angels and Stokastic Sims today, so of course, Poor Mike Trout, man. Some guys. Poor Mike Trout and his billions of dollars. but also sad to see him falling apart like that. Keldon Johnson, hopefully he can hang in the game, right? Keldon Johnson, 37% sim exposure for me, fields at 22. Keldon Johnson, as we talked about, just reliably playing minutes for the Spurs at this point. At this point, too, I think he's cheap enough as opposed to guys like Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, where the ceiling is certainly higher, but you are paying for every dollar of it. For Keldon Johnson, you're paying not that much. Got him in 37% of my lines. Fields at 22. AJ Johnson, going to play theoretically more minutes for the Wizards, starting with Keyshawn George out as a positive for him. He's not been a great producer on the Wizards. I only have him for 23 fantasy points today in 27 minutes. He really is one of those guys where he looks the part of an NBA player, but he just doesn't do enough out there. The Wizards also have a lot of bodies, and again, they're full health again today, at least based on the early injury reports. Maybe somebody gets ruled out late. But for AJ Johnson, I just don't know that he's a great play. Fields at 43%. I'm getting 20 right now. Blake Wesley, 3,200 for the Spurs. Going to be gunning a little bit, I guess. He's not really a play, but getting him at 5%. And Okongwu, same thing we always talk about with the Hawks. The rates don't really support Trae Young being a better player with Bogdan Bogdanovic, Jalen Johnson, and DeAndre Hunter off the court. You see more going Okongwu's way, more going Dyson Daniels' way, who also had an outlier day lately. That has been a take of mine that has been really important over the course of multiple games, and I think we also what I would point to in trying to highlight the value of the smaller sample size rate data stuff, if you can make it work in your way for your projections. I think that Trae is never a bad play, but Okongwu looks really good to me, and Dyson Daniels a little bit less good. We're going to go game by game here real fast. I'm still an MLB brain, and I really spent too much time with the rankings page. Please do show some love, though, guys. If you're watching this video in particular and you're not subscribed, please do that right now. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. It all goes a long way for me here. Got to fight that YouTube algorithm, especially as NBA season starts to wind down a little bit. MLB coming on. The views are going to be a pain in the ass, so your support does go a long way here. Just hitting that like button. Just leaving a comment if you're watching after the fact. And, of course, subscribing so you'll know whenever I go live. And there's going to be more content coming up here soon. I'm going to be moving things around a little bit as well when NBA regular season ends. So strap in. And, of course, check out Unabated, 20% off. You'd be up $55,000 if you just listened to your mother at Unabated. Go there right now. Do check it out. Data still runs all playoffs long, all regular season long as well. They do a great job winning people money with the best betting data, and you're going to see more of it in a little bit. And Stokastic, 15% off. Check it out. Link down below. Even if you just want to use their MLB deal, it's $1 right now for a week of MLB data for the first week, and you can get the Sims, you can get the data yourself. But all of that you get down below as well. So just click the link, go over there, and you can take that deal. And then when you convert to a full membership, I get half the money you'd pay to Stokastic. So a win-win for all of you out there who enjoy this content. All right, San Antonio, 112 implied points. Cleveland, 126.5 implied. So even with Mobley, very generous total here for Cleveland, and certainly one big spread favoring Cleveland as well. Frankly, this kind of spread, this total, like Ty Jerome going nuts, I feel like is something that would align in my brain. What happens often with these Cleveland totals being really high and the other team not being good defensively. That said, San Antonio, as we talked about, getting Keldon Johnson, good amount, 37% of my lineups have him. Sohan, 17%, Vassell, 13%, a little bit lower there. Castle, I can't get to at 6,600 with what his rates are. Does certainly gain in usage, but I'm not sure the underlying data supports him. At this point at 6,600, that said, he's hit a ceiling before. If he's your Quentin Grimes, you could chase him. I just don't think the court time without Wemby, without Fox, even without Bassey, like he just doesn't gain enough from that, rather, of the larger sample size. Everything else here, getting the other Champagny, had the other one on yesterday's slate, worked out pretty well. This one, only 8% for me, 9% for the field. A little bit of taste of San Antonio here, which is fine. You are playing Cleveland, though, so really don't want to go nuts on anybody on the Spurs, really. Though bigs have had success, I just don't think Biyombo actually has a ceiling, unfortunately. Maybe get a random Mamu game, but probably not. Hard to predict those. Cleveland, 126.5 implied points. So with no Mobley here, getting a lot of these guys, I don't want to be totally out on Donovan Mitchell, especially with this much Garland, this much Jared Allen, this much DeAndre Hunter, this much Ty Jerome. If Jerome is not playing, it'll be easier for me to get to Donovan Mitchell because basically Jerome's going to open up minutes, and Craig Porter coming in playing some minutes of guard is not going to do the same towards the team total as a guy like Ty Jerome. So Mitchell, I think, can come up naturally for me if Ty Jerome is out. As it is right now, though, with that total, getting a lot of these guys, they all look pretty good. Shears doesn't play enough minutes, but I think he would be like your lower owned leverage. But really, Mitchell at 11.5% owned. I mean, he and Garland pretty flat. They're not flat for me. I think trying to get a similar amount of Mitchell and Garland would be a logical thing to do. The Garland does project straight up 3 points and change better for me today. Dallas, we could save some time here. I'm getting nothing with AD in. You can't really boost the rates like you would normally for a Najee Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie. Those guys have gone off, including with AD there. So it's possible that that could be something that happens again. But with their price tags where they are, I don't see being there. With AD's price tag where it is, I don't see being there. Really need a no AD game to play Mavs, I think. Orlando, and especially with the matchup with Orlando too, which is not good. Orlando on their side facing a Dallas team that'll be better with AD, but still certainly not good by any stretch. Good for Orlando standards, a 113 implied total for them. As a result, we're getting a good amount of Paolo Banchero for the field, 31%. I'm getting 18. Franz getting 20% for the field. I got 56. In a perfect world, I would have more Franz, but kind of flatten that out more because, as I talk about all the time, these guys are very similar plays to how they produce. You can see it here. I have Banchero at 1.37 fantasy points a minute today. Franz at 1.39, but playing slightly less minutes. Wendell Carter, I'm not getting to today, but 15% for the field. I got 7. He's not been a bad play lately. Just the ceiling is never that high because you have Banchero, you have Wagner there as better players. And Anthony Black, as we've talked about, basically will play whatever minutes Corey Joseph doesn't play. Gains and rates as well from not having Cole Anthony out there as well as Suggs. Point guard stuff gets a little more consolidated for him. So Anthony Black at 4K looks good to me, and he paid off for me last time out. So not that that matters, but there you go. Tyrell O'Neal homer. There you go. Lots of homers in those early first games. So more power to him. I'm curious to see my lineups. I'm sure not going well. Let's take a quick look. How are my DraftKings MLB lineups doing right now? Because we never really have live sweats on this show. I'm gonna put on my Wi-Fi. All right. Loading. All right, I'm losing $150 currently. That's feeling good. Feeling good with MLB. Zach Wheeler, Hunter Green. I don't think I have any home runs in any lineups yet. Really hoping Texas starts to do something against Crochet. That would be helpful. But anyway, Indiana, 123.5 implied points. I got nothing from Indiana. Pretty much always the case here. Really not a spot. I would love Halliburton. Normally we're going to Halliburton more in spots where it's a competitive game. Ideally for him, even though home road splits, not something I ever really care about. Halliburton being at home does matter a little bit more for him. Not a bad total, though, here with 124 implied points for Indiana. So would say that at this point for Indiana, if you want to play them, you can. They're just not popping for me at all, but they often don't. Washington on their side, getting A.J. Johnson a lot for the field. I'm at half that. Getting Colby Jones more than the field, even though, as I talked about, I just don't feel that strongly about him as a player. But at this point for Washington, they probably are going to limit starters minutes a little bit on the back-to-back, but you're getting Middleton in, so it kind of comes out in the wash. I would really have a hard time playing a lot of Washington. My lineups yesterday, Cat and Sarr plus Champagny really bailed me out from Quentin Grimes not being that good. I just don't see how I'm going to go back there today with the lineup they have with Middleton coming back in. Hard to trust anything for Washington. And Jordan Poole played legit minutes yesterday too. He's back at 23 minutes in Stokastic projection. I don't really know what you do with him, but probably not play him. Atlanta, 113.3 implied points here. Not getting Trae Young, getting a lot of Okongwu, a lot of Dyson Daniels, about 43% for Daniels, 44% for Okongwu. As I've talked about many times, Trae Young just doesn't gain as much from the current iteration of the Hawks team. That said, he certainly can get there in any spot at 9,400. So I'm not mad at you if you play Trae Young. For me, though, I'm only getting 3%. Fields at 8. Miami on their side, Bam Adebayo, a lot of ownership going his way. I'm getting good amounts of all these guys. It's just a soft matchup on paper versus Atlanta where you're going to have more stats to boost this guy's projection a little bit. Total of those, not great for usual kind of flocking to a team against Atlanta spot. So 115 implied points for Miami. I'm not mad at it. But like there's a lot of ownership for these guys, and I'm not sure there's great of a play as the projections currently have them at, but getting a lot here. Hero, 40%, Fields at 30. Wiggins, 33%, Fields at 24. I've played a lot of Wiggins since he's been on the Heat. Frankly, doesn't let me down very often, but Heat also smoked Golden State last time out. Wiggins had a good game without playing a lot of fourth quarter run. So there is definitely still a ceiling there. We probably haven't seen all the way yet. Khalil Ware, talked about it earlier. I think he's good leverage against Bam, so I'm okay with this ownership being where it is, but really don't want to play those guys together. Davion Mitchell as a value, going to get minutes, it looks like again, but really not a great producer at 0.66 fantasy points per minute this year. Really, Miami, you're going to get these guys. They don't look like they're the best plays in the world for this much ownership, but on this slate, you just get a lot of them naturally. Waiting for the graphs. Yes, the graphs will be coming soon. Have no fear. You can get really sweaty and touch yourself if you need to. We got Lakers, 120 implied points. Chicago, 117. Mentioned it earlier. I'm lower on Luka here. The rates just don't support him being this highly projected, in my opinion, that he's played in the Lakers so far. LeBron looks better. LeBron in a back-to-back, though. Maybe we do see some shift there. I think in a perfect world, getting like 15% LeBron, 15% Luka. So we're a little bit above would be nice. I'm not sure how much I'll massage that for myself. Besides that, I don't know. Like Lakers, not a lot here. Rui being out doesn't really help anybody. Austin Reeves is priced up to $9K. I don't know how they got to that price tag. I think it's just for the spot versus Chicago. Really tough price tags for the Lakers today, besides for LeBron. Chicago on their side, you have the Q tags for Giddey, Vucevic, Lonzo Ball as well. Lonzo not in the projection set right now. Actually, so that doesn't make sense why I'm so low on Giddey. Must be just the matchup with the Lakers. But point being for Chicago, if you get a couple guys out, it'll look better. As it is right now, Giddey is now a sky-high price tag. He has paid it off. But it's tough, especially if you get Lonzo in. That projection is going to come down even further than I guess it would be right now. Kobe White, not really playable to me at 8,300, but if he hits a ceiling, he would look like an okay play at under 5% ownership. Vucevic, I've been really low on with the point guards not being there. They just don't feed him that well. He's been okay in a couple games lately, but we've seen the floor a lot as well. Not sold that he's fully fixed at this point at 7,800. Kevin Huerter, I've not gotten to in this Bulls run lately, but the minutes are there with Trey Jones out. Bulls playable, just don't love the spot versus the Lakers and losing 5 possessions. Not a great thing either for projections. Also, Reeves' price tag is so awful. It is. I mean, the reason like it's awful is like what could happen yesterday if he didn't get hurt and leave for a little bit. Is like if he had gone off in that game and then resulted in Luka getting, let's say, like 48 fantasy points and LeBron was playing terrible anyway, like that's your ticket to winning a slate potentially, but it's just not going to happen that often, would be my guess. Memphis, no Ja Morant again. They are priced fully for it. Total here versus OKC, a little bit lower than Memphis is usually getting as well. So really not getting any Grizzlies. Certainly if they hang in versus OKC, Bane doing something, Jackson doing something, Scottie Pippen being better is all a possibility here, but not high minutes for Memphis as always. Not a great total. Certainly not a great matchup with OKC's defense being one of the best in the league, giving up 107 points per 100 possessions. For Memphis here, I think they're the kind of team that makes sense where if this game is competitive, it's probably because Memphis had some outlier days, likely for the star players, Bane, Jaren Jackson in particular. But OKC, it's tough, man, when you get a total like that, as the projections won't come out that well in the wash. OKC on their side with Jalen Williams and these guys don't look that good to me. Holmgren, I'm getting half the field on. SGA, I'm barely getting any of. Fields at 14, I'm getting 3. Jalen Williams himself, price tag hasn't moved very much for being hurt. Only 1% for me, 5.5% for the field. Alex Caruso getting half the exposure there as well. Again, not a bad total here. Technically a pace up, gaining about 4 possessions for OKC going against Memphis. But I don't see this being a spot I'm dying to have. I do think, though, just again, looking at the game, feels like the kind of game that if Memphis hangs in, like you probably have potentially a couple tournament winners in here. So it's not a projection game though, which is like a weird distinction to have, but that's, if you get it, you get it. And if you don't get it, you're probably confused by what I just said. For you FanDuel lovers out there / DK late slate, Houston here, Şengün looks okay. With Amin Thompson in there, nothing really stands out that much. The Thompson's minutes being down help out Jalen Green a little bit. As we saw him have the outlier day when Amin Thompson got hurt last time out. Utah, Kessler looks good. Probably would still be tough to play on FanDuel, but you can take shots of the single center on FanDuel. Nothing else, though, looks that good. Portland, Denny Avdia, would like to have him on the DK slate. Looks like a good value to me. Doesn't look that good for everybody else here on Portland. And Sacramento on their side, if they're full health, doesn't look that good either, which has been the case pretty much for all of Sacramento's stints. They traded De'Aaron Fox. Zach Wheeler on pace to break the single-game strikeout record. There we go. And we're at the rough stretch of the season of garbage time when the Scottie Pippens get priced like Draymond. I mean, Scottie Pippen's getting priced like that because Morant's out. So, like, he wouldn't be one of those guys. Justin Edwards, like, being like a 6K guy, like that to me is like prime tank season. But let's go over to Unabated, guys. Let's get in some good bets right now. Of course, we're going to look at their data, led by Justin Fan and the crew. And again, you'd be up 55 grand if all you did was follow what this simple video is going to try to sell you on. Basketball monster, Underdog, Fantasy Labs. Now he's at Unabated, leading their team over there and doing a great job making their premium product here, the Unabated conditional projections. Of course, you got the Q tags and players you can see here, different projection sets for every questionable player. That is a key part of how Unabated will make you money on every given slate. Real-time news, if you don't want to be on Twitter, you can get that for yourself. And of course, you know, you're going to get pulling up here some graphs, see distributions based off simulations. If you really want to dig deep, or just look at pretty graphs like an R word. Discord, game day live streams, which they're going to be doing some free ones when the regular season ends. If you're not competing against me, check them out. And you'll be counting your money as well. Even though the unabated screen is loading real slow for me today. So there we go. We got it. Here's how much money you would be up right now. Updated the 24th of March. You'd be up just shy of $60,000, placing $100 bets, 30 minutes before tip-off, the 5% or higher ROI. I will show you the kind of bets that you would be getting in Unabated, but really the point is that you have to be in there yourself every day. And people, like, it's so dumb. Like, people don't want to do the work for betting. Even I myself, with the timing of shows and all that, like, I don't do enough work with just taking advantage of Unabated, Odd Shopper, whatever. For you guys out there, if you want to really make money in betting, it's just a matter of having a $1,000 bankroll or whatever. Get your deposit match on a BetMGM, couple books if you can, and just tail these best bets on Unabated, on one of the market-based tools, whatever you want to do. Unabated's market-based tool. It can be that simple, even though it is not fun content, but that's what betting can be for you. If you use tools like Unabated, so check it out for yourself. Really would buy a month at this point, play through the rest of the regular NBA season and a little bit of playoffs, get all of the first round at the very least. I would recommend doing that if you're like new to betting or whatever and you just want to give it a shot, especially if you haven't used all your bonuses on sportsbooks. Would be wise to do, I think. Anyway, here are your Q tag players. So we will not be getting any of these teams. There are a lot of them. We got 8 guys here, including Tamani Kamara, Josh Giddey, Malik Monk, Duncan Robinson, Amin Thompson, Vucevic, Kaysen Wallace, and Jalen Williams. So we won't see those teams in the data set from Unabated right now. but you would see him if you had the conditional NBA projections for yourself. Texas starting gets a crochet. There we go. Dare to dream. Let the computer do your homework, dummies. Look, for DFS, I think you have to have your hand on the wheel a little bit to have any shot of being, beating out the rake over the course of time. For betting, you really don't. For betting, you just have to click the buttons fast enough that they don't go away. That's basically it, but follow your heart. All right. Best bets for points. John Conchar under 3.5 points. The stars are out here on Unabated. John Conchar under 3.5 points, 22.8% EV on your pick'em sites today. PrizePicks and Underdog. Wow, what a great bet to place in a pick'em on Underdog. You should deposit $1,000 on there and get it matched by Underdog immediately with promo code SPLASH. Link in the description for the sweet EV on John Conchar under 22.8%. Or 3.5 points rather, but 22.8% EV on Underdog and also PrizePicks. But mostly Underdog. We got Julian Champagny, 14.8. How many different ways can I pronounce his name over the course of one video and over the course of an entire year? Champagny, 14.8% EV, over 7.5 points, looking good on PrizePicks, playable on DraftKings and FanDuel as well, not available on our precious Underdog. For Champagny, over 7.5 points. And that is the Spurs Champagny for what it's worth. Isaac Okoro, under 7 points, looking good on PrizePicks, 12% EV on there, not so good anywhere else. So only on PrizePicks, Isaac Okoro under 7 points. Jackson Hayes, under 8.5 points, looking good on FanDuel Sportsbook at -113 odds, but it's a grand slam. Playable on PrizePicks, playable on Underdog, playable on DK, and playable on FanDuel for Jackson Hayes today, under 8.5 points. Mohamed Gay, under 4.5 points. Best on DraftKings Sportsbook at +105 odds. Still looking very good on FanDuel where you get 9.3% EV, but take the 11% EV on DraftKings Sportsbook if you can for Mo Gay, under 4.5 points. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, over 7.5 points. Looking good on DraftKings. Looking good on Underdog. Once again here, 10.6% EV. Not so good on DraftKings. Not so good on FanDuel. Not good at all on PrizePicks. So KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, over 7.5 points only on Underdog. UD promo screen is a huge hit with the neurodiverse demographic. I hope so. I hope it's hitting, and I hope it's also subliminally making them go over there and deposit right away. Jalen Wells, over 7.5 points. Good on PrizePicks and Underdog. Playable on DraftKings, not on FanDuel. So no grand slam, but a triple. We're in MLB opening day. Jalen Wells here, over 7.5 points. Good to go on Pick'ems and still playable on DraftKings. Rebounds coming up next. Let's take a sip of water because I've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes, basically. Woo! That baseball time of the day was it's not my ideal, man. I had to wake up and do work from the moment I woke up to get the data ready, and then I had to do the streams, and I have to fucking do NBA in advance. It was tough. It's tough. Bit pat on the back for me, but please hit that like button, guys. Let's go a long way. Not represented. She would call everybody a bitch if we went against her. Did it hurt my soul to have to talk about FanDuel live before Lock MLB show? It did, but again, I prepare for those shows. I do talk FanDuel, but I don't just do it on my channel because I don't play it. But you know my dirty secret, Ryan, so that's it. But I use stochastic data like it's the same thing. It gives me probably better read, honestly, than I would have if I were playing the slates. Anyway, Sam Merrill, your best rebounds bet right now. Under 3.5 rebounds, looking good on your pick'em sites. A very high 34.8% EV. The line probably a little bit high there because of Mobley being out. So I would take that Sam Merrill line immediately on your pick'em sites if you can. Add it into your pick'em slips. Gary Harris under 1.5 rebounds, 20.6% EV for you on Underdog. Wow. The Gary Harris under 1.5 rebounds. Take it on Underdog. Use the promo code SPLASH for a $1,000 bonus for Gary Harris under 1.5 rebounds on Underdog. Chris Middleton, playable on your regular sportsbooks, DraftKings, and FanDuel. 18.9% EV. Pretty high EV for DraftKings Sportsbook for Chris Middleton. Under 3.5 rebounds, but still good on FanDuel as well. Kyle Filipowski, over 5.5 rebounds. Good at -140 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, 15.6% EV. Still good on FanDuel, too, for Filipowski over 5.5 rebounds. Not available on your pick'em sites, though. Caleb Houston under 1.5 rebounds. Good on Underdog. Once again, 15.3% EV on Underdog. You could honestly build a very nice pick'em just off these rebounds lines. For Caleb Houston under 1.5 rebounds. Jordan Goodwin under 3.5 rebounds. 13.4% EV. Sam Merrill under 3.5 rebounds. Gary Harris under 1.5. That's what you should be doing. I'm going to keep flashing it, but like, really, this is an easy pick'em right here with a lot more EV you're normally getting. And Jared Vanderbilt, under 4.5 rebounds, looking best on DraftKings Sportsbook, playable on FanDuel as well for under 4.5 rebounds for Jared Vanderbilt, getting 12.7% EV on DraftKings and 10.2% on FanDuel. Assists coming up next. And it doesn't exactly work this way, but as we talked about at the beginning of the video, for unabated data, you're looking for a 5% or higher sim ROI to back test the way that they're looking at things. You're seeing literally 6x the value here of what that standard bet is worth. And it's, again, not one-to-one. It doesn't mean you're getting like 6 times a better bet, really. But it does show you here, like, you're getting a lot of EV with this unabated data right now. And this is with 8 different players, like their projection, their team not popping up at all because all the Q tags we have. Karis LeVert, we got 23.2% EV on Karis LeVert, over 2.5 assists, looking best on DraftKings. But Grand Slam, over 20% EV on PrizePicks, Underdog, DraftKings, and FanDuel. This LeVert line not priced correctly. Over 2.5 assists for Karis LeVert today for the Hawks. Pascal Siakam, under 3.5 assists, best on PrizePicks, where it's 21% EV, but also good on DraftKings and FanDuel. Over 12% EV on DraftKings and 18% on FanDuel. So Pascal Siakam looking very good here, under 3.5. We got Keontae George under 4.5 assists here, plus 110 odds for Keontae George to go under 4.5 assists today. Gets you 19.9% EV on FanDuel. Also good on DraftKings, where it's 14.2% EV. Not on your pickup sites, though. So Keontae George on your regular betting sites under 4.5 assists. Run to take that. This is actually like a really high EV day. And that's not me just like shilling here. Like I look at it every day as part of my deal with Unabated. You're getting a lot more EV than you usually do for all these bets, really. But the rebounds one, to have like an entire pick'em card of that many high EV bets, just doesn't happen very often. So run to do it today, if nothing else. Chris Middleton, 18.3% EV for over 2.5 assists, only playable on PrizePicks. So take Chris Middleton over 2.5 assists on PrizePicks for that sweet EV. Jordan Poole over 3.5 assists, again, playing somehow regular minutes. 18.5% EV for Jordan Poole at plus 144 odds on FanDuel. Still bettable on DraftKings, where it's over 2.5 at minus 175. A lot of juice on that. Ty Jerome over 3.5 assists. He is a Q tag, but if he doesn't play, you'll get voided. So Ty Jerome over 3.5 assists, looking best on PrizePicks and close to playable on DraftKings. But really, Ty Jerome over 3.5 assists, played only on PrizePicks if you can. And Caleb Houston under 0.5 assists. He's not very good, so that's easy to take. Underdog here, looking like the best line here for the lower on 0.5 assists on Caleb Houston today. And last but not least, our sweet PRAs. You sim now. Me talking, bossing around my technology. That's what I'm here for. All right. Let's get all our lines in. For Unabated, I do recommend scrolling down all the way to make sure that it sorts correctly. It's one of those old veteran hands of doing many streams of Unabated data here this year. John Conchar, under 9.5 PRAs, looking very good on PrizePicks and Underdog. Huge EV, 34% EV for John Conchar, under 9.5 PRAs. KJ Martin, under 11.5 PRAs, looking good on PrizePicks and Underdog as well. So KJ Martin, the lower for 11.5 PRAs. He's honestly not playing very much for Utah, and he's not playing very well when he does. So KJ Martin, easy under here, 17.6% EV. Excuse me on that. Jordan Goodwin, under 10.5 PRAs, 9% EV. Would maybe be bad if you got a last-minute ruling out of LeBron or Luka, but looking at Underdog, not as good as some other ones we had, but under 10.5 PRAs for Jordan Goodwin. Gets you 9% EV. Franz Wagner, who I do love for DFS tonight, over 35.5 PRAs, looking good on DraftKings and FanDuel, and actually playable everywhere. So Grand Slam for Franz Wagner. You can play him on PrizePicks, Underdog, DraftKings, or FanDuel over 35.5 PRAs. Kyle Filipowski over 19.5 PRAs, minus 110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. Gets you 8.6% EV. You don't want to bet anywhere else, though. So Kyle Filipowski only on DraftKings Sportsbook. Scottie Pippen Jr. under 21.5 PRAs. Best line is minus 105 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. That gets you 8.5% EV, and you don't want it on your pick'em sites or on FanDuel. Colin Sexton over 21.5 PRAs, 8.3% EV for him going on DraftKings Sportsbook. Colin Sexton over 21.5 PRAs. Playable on DraftKings, not anywhere else. And that is your card with Unabated. A lot of very fertile bets to hit here, so inseminate them. With yours, all you on your own. Go 20% off. Unabated here. You got to taste the data. There's a lot more for you, a lot more books as well. If you want to go beat up on BetMGM, Caesars, take the deposit bonus and do that. But use Unabated data. It'll go a long way for you in general. And also, I'm only showing you here the primary books that I know everybody's got on their mobile apps or whatever at this point. For you guys out there, like go get your 4 next tier sports books in whatever state you're in, get those deposit bonuses, do the work with Unabated 30 minutes for tip off every day. And frankly, too, when the projections launch every day at 4:30, because that also, I think you're up 45 grand or whatever from that first run of data for them. That would be what I recommend if you're going to go hard at betting and you got, another 2 months to do it with the NBA season going on. So I don't know, follow your hearts. But click the link in the description if you want to check it out and learn more about Unabated. We're going to go to Stokastic next, the last stop on our journey. Looks like their data is updated as well. So we're going to build some NBA lineups here, 5,000 of them, in fact, and have them compete 10,000 times. And one last run here to ask you guys to subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Again, I'm one guy here. Doesn't matter if I have to update NFL rankings in the morning, prepare for MLB, get all my shit aligned. I still make sure I show up to the show prepared and knowing what I'm talking about with good data to show you guys. And that's my promise here and the premise of what Splash Play is and what I think I am as a content creator. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It goes a long way. Do check out our sponsors too. Promo code SPLASH Underdog for your $1,000 deposit bonus. You had so many great bets on there. You'd be a fool if you're not an Underdog and you have pick'ems in your state to not play on there. Unabated, of course, 20% off, link down below. And Stokastic, 15% off. They have their deals right now, like that cycle deal, which you can also click my link and still get that deal. But for you guys out there, like the deals right now for Stokastic, they're not as good as 15% off in perpetuity. So check it out. Click the link down below and get 15% off anything that's not MLB right now. All right, let's run the sim and see what we get. Oh, join the Discord too. 49 to join. That's all the plugging. I give up. I will inseminate anything. Thank you. As we're talking about banging U.S. Rep Crockett, which I love that we're giving her a formal titling. And she's very sassy. I mean, I'm not saying that because she's a black woman. I feel like that's like calling a white receiver scrappy, hardworking lunch pail guy. But she's got something. Honestly, I think even like really conservative guys would be like, yeah, I could see hitting that. she'd give you some feel. It's thin line between love and hate too on that side. Anyway, and that's been banging senators talk here, or representatives talk. AOC too. Lauren Boebert. I think we'd all do it. Those are the 3 that come to mind. If there are more representatives or senators that we should be having sex with, or attempting to, or envisioning doing, rather, obviously consensually, please leave them in the comments. Let me know. Things I have to do while the sim is running just to fill time. And I did the plugging in advance. That's it. Only 41? All right, there we go. Only 41. Tell it to Gen Z. They don't want to hear that. Would motor Boebert. Take her to Beetlejuice. All hands are on deck. Your top ROI lineups. You got Davion Mitchell, or if you're Kid Rock, Dyson Daniels, Colby Jones, Haywood High. Wow, this is an awful start to a lineup. Davion Mitchell, Colby Jones, and Haywood Highsmith. My God. Was Kenneth Farid not available? He honestly, I would take him over those guys. Tristan Vukovic, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Khalil Ware. So you're getting Luka and LeBron. And boy, and Tyson Daniels too is pretty expensive. And boy, are you paying for it with shitty players. So that's crazy. That's the top ROI lineup, but it's a baseball day, so who knows what's going to win. Anthony Black, Alec Burks, Devin Vassell, Paolo Banchero, Khalil Ware again, Tyrese Halliburton, Chet Holmgren, Davion Mitchell again. Fucking Davion Mitchell popping in a lot. Anthony Black at number 3 again. I like Anthony Black a lot more than Davion Mitchell. I'll tell you guys that. AJ Johnson, Colby Jones, your 2 shitty Wizards who theoretically can get more minutes on the back-to-back. Paolo Banchero, Tristan Vukovic, who also hopefully can get more minutes on the back-to-back, but he's not shitty. But he is a Wizard. Tyrese Halliburton, Bam Adebayo, Chet Holmgren. I am perplexed by some of these top guys. Anthony Black, AJ Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, Andrew Wiggins, Alex Sarr, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Ware. Look, Sarr's minutes, I don't trust, man. He could have played more minutes yesterday. They brought him in for a 4th quarter stint, but it was so short. On a back-to-back, I don't know how it gets better. But Sarr's playing really well in these limited Wizards groups. I hated him as a pick, and the lottery just thought he didn't show anything in Europe. He's rounding into somebody who's useful. He's actually hit some threes as well. So, I like Sarr a little bit. I would like him more, not on the back-to-back, on the back half of the back-to-back especially. And at number 5, you have AJ Johnson, Dyson Daniels, Colby Jones, Andrew Wiggins, Alex Sarr, Anthony Black, LeBron James, and Tyler Hero. So a lot of Anthony Black, a lot of AJ Johnson, a lot of Colby Jones, more Chet Holmgren than I would have thought, more Davion Mitchell than I would like. That's that. Katie Britt. I don't know who that is. I don't want to distract here, but while we're on the stream. Okay. Not the best first photo, but I could see what we're going here. All right. back to the sim. Look, I know there's not a single woman watching this stream, so I think we can look at a woman that people say is attractive and just take a quick read. I think that's okay. I think we're allowed here. Well, we're allowed as a treat on an MLB day to do that on an NBA stream. We got Alec Burks here. We got 17% ROI for Alec Burks. So your only positive ROI player, and he is positive by a wide margin here. So again, we're more worried about in the sim, the directional accuracy, like where these guys line up and who your top 10 is, matter a lot more for a sim. But that's a really high ROI for Alec Burks. So you're getting leverage on a lot of chalkier heat. I think would be the logic why. Tyrese Halliburton, negative 2% ROI. Colby Jones, negative 2.4%. SGA, negative 4%. Khalil Ware, negative 4%. Bub Carrington, negative 4%. And Chet Holmgren, negative 4.5. Top exposed players. Khalil Ware, more than 2x the field on him. Khalil Ware's been popping up a lot in the sim, and he's played well enough to make winning lineups, so I get it. Colby Jones, 48% exposure, more than 2x the field on him as well. So really big stands on Khalil Ware and Colby Jones on this slate. AJ Johnson, you're with the field on 45% compared to 40%. So not a really big stand, but the sim certainly likes AJ Johnson, as we saw from those top lineups. Anthony Black, 41% compared to 25. So not quite double there. I love Anthony Black. This is really the first play here that I know is going to be a big part of my portfolio. So Anthony Black, I think one of the better values on the slate. LeBron here, 39% fields at 21. So pretty big stand in favor of LeBron at, again, a reasonable price tag to me compared to Luka. For comparison, Luka's at a $12,000 salary, obviously, and Stokastic is with the field on Luka, a little bit above. But LeBron, a much bigger stand in favor of him. You're getting actually 2x the field, or 2x the amount of Luka on the LeBron exposure here in Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Tristan Vukovic, 38% compared to 21, so a big stand in favor of him. Do think he should see more minutes on the back-to-back, but Washington are assholes. Davion Mitchell, 36% fields at 30, so a stand there. Not a big one, though. Highest leverage guys in Stokastic's top 150 NBA lineups. Khalil Ware, 29% more than the field. Colby Jones, 26% more. Chet Holmgren, 18% more. I really don't know why you would do that in a day where Jalen Williams is coming back in. He's cheap enough at 7,500, but I'm like, I don't know. It's one of those days, and we always say with the Stokastic sims, like sometimes they get shit right where I'm like, I'm not on it at all. Holmgren, I don't see why you would do it, but it's interesting to note that Stokastic is putting him up there a good amount. Tristan Vukovic, 17% leverage. LeBron, 17% leverage. You talked about those guys. Bub Carrington, 17% leverage. You're getting him a little bit more than 2x the field. And SGA, 16% leverage on him. So even with Jalen Williams coming in, you're getting a lot of Holmgren, a lot of SGA. Huh. I'm sure there's like a logic to why. Maybe because those guys get less played because of Jalen Williams coming in. Projection-wise, it just wouldn't work out that way for me. Jared Allen, negative 15% leverage. You're barely playing him. As I mentioned, he looks like a great play with Mobley out. I don't agree with that, personally. Donovan Mitchell, I wasn't getting a lot of him. Stokastic is also getting only 5% fields at 16. If you're going to get Garland, you're going to get Allen, you're going to get Ty Jerome, you're going to get DeAndre Hunter. You should get some Mitchell, because if Mitchell goes nuts, puts up 50 real life points, he's going to pull from those guys meaningfully. So Mitchell, to me, like if you're going to play Cavs, don't totally fade Mitchell. In fact, try to force your way to a little bit, even though he projects, for me, straight up, he projects worse than Darius Garland. Franz Wagner, I'm going to have a lot of him. Stokastic wants to get half the field, negative 11% leverage. Wendell Carter, negative 9%. You're barely playing him, only 3% of lineups. Trae Young, I support on this, negative 8.5%. Field's going to be about 12%. So you're getting a very little amount of Trae Young today. Max Strus getting 6% compared to the field's 14. He's not projected to play a lot of minutes by Stokastic. That's reasonable. And Stephon Castle, who I don't love the price tag for, he has shown a ceiling, but I don't think the median projection is going to look that good at 6,600. You're getting half the field on him, 5% compared to the field's 12. Weird slate, honestly. Like it almost feels like the NBA DFS slate kind of phoned it in because MLB's going on, where like the players don't look that great. A lot of these ones, and that's like some of the Stokastic lineups, I just don't see it for like, especially that top lineup. That was too many shitty players. We're going to talk about my splash plays for the day, though, guys. Before we do that, one last run. Please subscribe down below. Hit the like button. Leave a comment. Goes a long way for me here. One guy running an NBA / soon-to-be MLB channel, and also an NFL channel. And I do the best I possibly can every day for you guys. That is a promise here. I wouldn't put up content if I thought it sucked and if I thought I was bad at it and if it were stupid. So how many pejorative things can I say when trying to promote my content? But really, I do show up, do the work here as hard as I can every day, and hopefully it does show. If you guys join in here, I'll do the best to never lead you astray, even if the Quentin Grimes of the world, sometimes they can't hit. Unabated, you guys know the deal. Link in the description, 20% off. Stokastic, link in the description, 15% off. And if you're going to take their cycle deal, which is $1 for LB data for a week, you can also just click that link and I'll still get credit for it. So please do that no matter what there, but go check out their deals. Stokastic has some great stuff. And of course, great tools and data if you want to play DFS for any sport. Discord, join down below, $5. You guys know the deal. Join the channel. More people in Discord, the merrier, especially for basketball and baseball. Football, we got enough people talking in there. But more of you guys in there, especially if you're good guys in chat. You're not going to be mean to Robert Griffin the Turd. That's all I ask. You join the Discord. All right, splash plays for the day. I think you guys probably have a read on a good amount of them today already. Anthony Black is a value, definitely one of them for me. Jared Allen as a core play, Garland as a core play, Ty Jerome if he plays. I'm going to try to be responsible about it today. He's not like a lock button play for me like he was the other day when thankfully he hit. He's still going to be in a good amount of lineups for me, but as I mentioned, like Mobley being out helps him rate-wise. It doesn't help his minutes outlay enough, so like I'd be cautious on that. Okongwu core play for me. Dyson Daniels core play for me. Let me just short one more time. Obviously, I've given you guys, I think, most of the player pool for right now. And Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner has to be one of them. Hero, too, I would throw in the mix. Those guys are my core, and I'm getting the most LeBron out of my pay-ups. That's like I gave you guys way too much. Those are the guys I'm getting meaningful amounts on the slate. So you saw what Stokastic guys. You saw what I have. Now let's find out what you have. Pull it out. But I'll be back tomorrow with more guys, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. We're going to keep the schedule here. I think the rest of the NBA regular season, they're going to move the show a little bit earlier come playoff time. But gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here on the Splash Play channel where it's at Splash Play Bets or at Splash Play NBA. But now it's at Splash Play Bets. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with more guys. I'll also be doing an NFL stream tomorrow, catching up in the world of the big board, updated my NFL rankings today for that too. So I'll see you guys there at 11 a.m. But enjoy your days. Good luck. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy the basketball. Enjoy the outside if you're an asshole. I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye.